Hey everybody, this is Curtis from PSNStores.com. Today we're going to take a look at Shu. Our review of this game went up yesterday. It's been out since early October. It's just, this season has been flooded with AAA releases and PlayStation VR games and all sorts of everything in between. And so actually in that respect, it's unfortunate that it took us a while to get to this game. It's kind of nice to kind of take a step back from all like the really big releases, a lot of very like complex games and big budget games and VR stuff, and just kind of turn on something that's a little bit more simple. Shu is a game that is very much kind of back to basics, very still down to a very basic kind of platforming game, and I really do appreciate that. I think it works. There's some pros and cons to that kind of approach, but I think for the most part, it works out decently well. I did enjoy this game. It's very short. It only took me about 3 hours to play through just each of the levels just one time. But there's reasons to go back. There's reasons to get collectibles and to do time trials and stuff like that. So they do give you reasons to keep playing even after you beat it. So we're going to take a look at a couple stages. But there are 5 worlds in this game. There's like kind of a story. There's an intro and ending cinematic, but they don't really spend too much time trying to get bogged down in like story details and stuff. It's just there kind of to give you some context, to give you just to explain what is going on. It's that's kind of what it's there for. So the key to this game, the core here, is the actual gameplay. So that's where the focus is going to be. We'll start at Pelican Coastline, and so we'll play a stage from here, and then we'll hop on over to another world and check out that stage. So basically each of the 5 worlds has up to 2 to 4 stages. Totals out to about 15. Each stage has 6 babbies to collect. Those are the little like bird creatures that are half hatched out of their eggs. Once you finish a stage, you can unlock time trials. So you can do the time next to the hourglass is my time, and then the time below it I think is like the dev time or something that you can beat for a trophy. There's also little icon, the butterflies those are kind of the collectibles that you'll go and get throughout the game, aside from the babbies, of course. And then the symbol below that is what you get if you finish the stage without dying. So you got all of that, and then on the bottom left, we've also got these kind of stone tablets, basically, that you can collect throughout the game. And these I found a few of them, but I think these are actually pretty well hidden. The babbies themselves are pretty easy to find as long as you're paying attention. There are, as you see, there's a few that I've missed. And so there definitely are some that are a little bit better hidden than others, but it's really these tablets I found. There's like one in each stage, and those are, from what I've seen, are actually pretty well hidden. So we'll do, just for the sake of being able to show a little bit more than just some of the very basics, we'll do this 3rd stage here. Calm Before the Storm. So Shu is the main character of this game. He can run, he can jump, and then he can glide. And so those are his basic abilities. And what this game does, which I think actually works out for it really, really well, is you've got these friends of Shu. You've got these other villagers who, when you meet up with them, you hold hands, as you can see, and you can have up to 2 villagers with you at a time. And they all have their own unique ability tied to them. So the blue villager here, she can open up platforms, and you'll see that in just a little bit. And then the other guy right there, he can bust through like crates and different barriers, and so you'll see that as well. He can do like a ground pound. So we're gonna jump over the time trial thing here. So I've already collected these butterflies, so if you play through a stage again, they're kind of dimmed out a little bit, so you can see which ones you found and which ones you haven't. That's a babby. Again, it's kind of faded out because I've already found it. And so you see here, you can do a ground pound, and then in a little bit we'll probably get her her ability. These are the checkpoints. So the checkpoints are very, very nice. But if you die, you notice one of these bells will fall off. So you've got 5 lives total. Every time you reach a new checkpoint, your life count resets. You lose all your lives, so you have to restart the stage. Only happened to me once or twice. In general, wasn't a huge deal. This game can be challenging. There are certain parts of this game that can be kind of hard, but in general, it's not going to be too difficult to get through, unless you're being dumb like me and not paying attention like that. Some of the later stages can be a little tough. So here's her ability. So we've got these platforms and these kind of flowers here that's already opened up, and then you see some other ones that aren't. So you kind of jump, you hit circle, and then you open those, and then it's kind of this open-close stuff going on there. And so what this game does is, because there's only 2 friends that join you at a time, you have levels that are designed specifically around these abilities. So you go from just having Shu, where you can just jump and glide, and then suddenly when you get through, you know, a certain amount of like the first or second level of a world, usually it's the first, except for this one, you kind of reach a point where you find these other buddies of yours, and they'll bring forth their own abilities. And then suddenly, the level design changes to kind of coincide with the friends that you have with you. And I really like that about this game. I think it does a pretty good job of, with its level design, depending on who is with you at any given point. Especially, I think, some of the later stages, there's some pretty cool abilities you get later on from different friends you meet. And then there is the final stage, I think, does a really good job of kind of incorporating everybody. One of the things I brought up in the review, and it's not really a big deal, but it is something I would have liked to have seen, is these 2 characters here. You only see them in the first world, with the exception of the final stage. And so this is the only pairing with these 2 abilities that you get. So I would have liked to see maybe a little bit more mix and match. Every world introduces 2 new characters, so 2 new abilities for each world, which is great. It works out as far as like pacing is concerned and everything like that. It's just that I would have liked to have seen maybe a little bit more, just mixing it up a little bit and giving you 2 different abilities than what you might expect kind of later on. So that would have been neat. What we're seeing here is the chase sequences. So kind of the premise of this story is that this big storm has kind of swept through and destroyed your village, and you're just trying to outrun the storm and survive. So here is the storm here. And so basically in each world you get through some levels that about halfway through, give or take, you will the storm will show up and you'll just have to outrun it. It's usually not too hard. Sometimes, like, if it's your first time through a stage, maybe there's a little bit of trial and error learning the best route, because sometimes the stages will split. But in general, it's not too bad. And the other thing I do want to bring up is, you know, art style-wise, this kind of 2D hand-drawn art, and also the way the levels are structured. The levels are very much designed in such a way with speedrunning in mind, or with time trials in mind. And now we're riding a I don't know, a bull, I think. Anyways, the levels are designed, like, even once you play through them once, if you play through them another time, you can do time trials, and they're kind of designed in such a way that you can get through them very quickly, which is really cool. It reminds me a lot of Rayman Origins and Legends, basically. And so it's at least in kind of the hand-drawn art aesthetic, slightly different art styles, of course, but also just the level design structure, and also like a lot of the collectibles kind of feel similar, like kind of different philosophies right there. I imagine there's probably a good bit of inspiration taken from those recent Rayman 2D games, which is I'm gonna say, if you're making a platformer, pretty good place to get some inspiration from. In my opinion, I think those games are some of the best platformers of recent years. So in some way, maybe it's an unfair comparison, because how could you ever live up to those games? But I think in general, I had a lot of fun with this game. It didn't blow me away or anything, but it's nice to, as I mentioned before, to kind of take a break from some of the larger, more complex and big AAA games, and kind of, you know, have a game that kind of gets back to basics, if you will, is just very, it's just fun, and it's not super complicated. It's got a couple little interesting mechanics here and there, but it's just a focus on being an interesting platformer. And very simple at that. The only weird thing is, so like, this world ends with this section where you're riding an animal, and it's very different. But there's never anything like that again, so it's kind of weird, but whatever. So let's go ahead and we'll choose another level. That way you can see maybe some of the other abilities. We'll go ahead and just do the first level here, the far-flung forest. There is a platinum in this game. It doesn't seem. I think the hardest stuff might end up being time trial wise, and probably getting through every stage without dying. I think that would probably be the things that might take a little bit more time. But most of the other trophies I ended up just getting as I was playing. And also think, you know, in regards to the art style, I like it. I could see some people not being huge fans. I think like some of the characters are the way they animate maybe it's a little stiff, I think, but I think it's fine. I like the way Shu looks in particular. So anyway, so we found another character here. Missed his name, but he can run along water. So you got a little timer there. And then we'll have Keela here, and Keela can wall jump. And so again, you know, you see like, now we have these two abilities, and now suddenly you can expect the levels to be designed in such a way in this world to accompany that kind of stuff. I don't think I ever figured out how to get up here. Anyways, it's probably something super obvious. And then another kind of cool thing this world does, we'll see if we get to it. There's a mechanic where you can like raise and lower the water level. And so that brings with it some kind of interesting level design again. And we'll play through this level to completion, but that's about everything I have to say about Shu. I like it enough. It's again, not gonna blow your mind or anything. But it's a fun little platformer, and again, it's nice to kind of have something to break up the pace of a lot of these like bigger AAA releases that's going on right now. Unfortunately, that means it's going to get overshadowed heavily, and I think, you know, in some ways we kind of felt that too. It's taken us a while to kind of get to covering this game, but I'm glad I did. You know, I'm glad I did actually take some time to check it out again. It's not, you know, it's just a few hours to complete if you're just looking to play through it, but there are reasons to keep playing. You know, there's time trials and there's collectibles to get. And I would imagine having a platinum trophy would probably help some people maybe heighten the desire to try to 100% this game and everything, and I would bet you probably have a pretty good time doing so. I just think in general my only real gripes are pretty small, pretty kind of minor, but they're you know, I think when you're just playing with Shu, you know, you find these new characters and they have these cool abilities that add to what you can already do, and so the levels are designed in such a way to encompass those abilities, and that works really well. But when those characters are gone and taken away and you enter a new world and you're just Shu again, even though those sections end up becoming, it's a very small portion of the game in general, I do find playing solely with Shu is kind of gets a little dull after a while. But again, that's such a small portion of the game. And then the other thing is, you know, again, just I would have liked to have seen more just kind of mixing and matching of different characters. Kind of later on, maybe having this character who can wall jump, maybe she gets paired with the person who can break through. You know, you can do the ground pounds, and so that would be kind of cool. Maybe that would bring out some interesting level design again, that it's focused around those two abilities. But you don't really get that. Not so much, so. Not a deal breaker, but it, you know, could have been cool to see, I think. But in general, it's, you know. But anyways, this is Shu. Again, it is out now on PlayStation 4. I want to say I think there's a Vita version coming at some point. Maybe it's already out. It's like $11.99. I like it. I like it enough. It's interesting. It's, you know, very short. But there are reasons to go back and continue playing more, and it's a fun little, like, kind of back to basics platformer. There's nothing too crazy. There's no, like, gimmicky thing that they've got included. It's just some interesting mechanics that they've got paced out throughout the game pretty well, and it's a pretty good level design overall, I think, and it looks pretty nice too. So that is Shu. I'm Curtis from PSN Stores. Thank you for watching as always, and we'll see you next time.